What if I told you that the life you dream of may already be happening, but you're too distracted to notice? I know this may sound strange, but stay with me. I've been there, at the bottom, where you might be right now. I've looked at the future with heavy eyes, feeling as if everything I tried to do was doomed to fail. Sometimes, it feels like hope is something you no longer have, and you just get used to living in a world without it. I know what it's like to be in that place. To feel invisible, like your actions don't matter, like your efforts are useless. I've had days when I woke up not knowing what to do with my own body, not knowing where to start. The weight of frustration felt like a cloak I couldn't take off. It was a cycle of failed attempts and giving up. The truth is, my journey here hasn't been easy. I know everyone talks about getting up and moving on, but when you're in that deep hole, it feels like any effort is in vain. I felt completely exhausted, emotionally drained, and more distant from who I really was. And the worst part was, I knew I wasn't living up to my potential, but at the same time, I didn't know how to change. The uncertainty paralyzed me. I clearly remember one specific day. I was sitting on my couch, staring out the window. The sky was gray, as if the world was reflecting my soul in that moment. I looked at the screen of my phone, notifications piling up, the weight of productivity crushing me. A sea of perfect images of people doing amazing things while I couldn't even get out of bed. I was lost, without direction, with no apparent reason to keep trying. I started asking myself, is this all there is? Is it me who isn't capable, or is the world just not making space for me? And when those thoughts repeat in your head, you start to believe them. You begin to think that maybe there's a simpler explanation. You're not good enough, not smart enough, or simply unlucky. But then, something happened. I don't know exactly what it was, but in that moment, I realized I was stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage. I was so focused on my failures, so obsessed with what wasn't happening, that I lost sight of what I had already achieved. And it was there, on that couch, on that gray day, that I realized one simple yet extremely powerful thing. Change begins when you decide to stop waiting for something outside of you to change. I started reflecting on the small moments when things were actually going right, the details I had previously overlooked. A conversation with a friend, a quiet afternoon with a book in hand, a peaceful night without that voice in my head shouting that I wasn't doing enough. These small moments started to accumulate, and slowly, like the rising tide, I began to realize that I was, indeed, heading in the right direction. Not spectacularly, but in a real and concrete way. I remembered how, when I was younger, I saw everything from a different perspective. Life seemed like a straight line, a list of clear goals. I thought I needed to achieve everything at once, in a grand way. But over the years, I realized that it's not about doing everything at once, but about being patient with the process and accepting that transformation, often, is subtle. The most important thing is to keep going. And that's when I understood. Life doesn't demand huge leaps in order for us to change. Sometimes, it's the small steps that, when added together, take us to a completely new place. I learned to see progress in unexpected places, on days when I woke up and didn't feel so heavy, in moments when I allowed myself to rest, and in times when I was kinder to myself. Gradually, I realized that true change isn't about reaching a specific goal, but about being willing to grow at each step, even if those steps are small. There was a revelation that changed the way I saw things. I realized that happiness and hope aren't something far away. They're not in some future date or dream you need to achieve. They're here. They're in the small daily victories that we often overlook. They're in the fact that you managed to get through a difficult day, or in the simple act of allowing yourself to start again. I stopped chasing perfection and started to value the process. And that's when hope came back. Today, I don't have all the answers. But one thing is certain, I started believing again because I finally understood that life isn't about finding a quick fix, but about learning to navigate it with patience, humility, and a genuine willingness to grow. It's not easy, I know. But if you feel the way I once felt, I can only tell you, keep going. It may be hard, but transformation is happening, maybe right under your nose. So, what are you going to do now? I don't have the answer to that question. But if you start looking at your life differently, if you begin to value your small victories, even the quiet ones, you might begin to realize that you're already closer than you think. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover that the future you dream of is already in motion. It's right here, within your reach. I started believing again because I realized that hope isn't something you find, but something you build, day by day. And if I can do it, you can too. Change starts now, with one simple step. And maybe, that step is just looking at yourself and saying, I'm ready to try again.